So let's talk about the Cisco migration and the design topic now. So preparing for Cisco SD-WAN migration can be a thought of one of the most important step in the journey of Cisco SD-WAN. Now, if you have traditionally and trying to move to the Cisco SD-WAN, then definitely it will be very much complicated for you, depending upon how complex your network is. Now, solid preparation will set an organization up for success during all the stages of migration. Yes, definitely, because it's in order to facilitate what you want, plus you want to utilize the new technology. That is a very tough job, including data center deployment, branch deployment, and the policy configuration. All right, for the migration, there are some requirements: data center and branch site physical and logical diagram. You have to make sure that how the physical and the logical diagram should look like, and you should have a clarity upon how things will be connected once you move to the Cisco SD-WAN. And the intention of this one is to make sure that you do have a smooth transition, plus you have to make sure that you do not lose any of the routings. If you lose any of your routings, your customers will be affected, and that will lead to uh, breaching of your SLS. All right, collecting of existing device configuration. Again, in a traditional way, if you look at it, there is a lot of CLI, so a lot of works need to be done in order to move to Cisco SD-WAN. Before you do that, basically you will get all the backups from CLI backup, or the data, what do we say, configuration backup from all the devices, each and every devices of your networking devices, to make sure that you do have clarity on how things are connected and how you can move to the SD-WAN. So definitely it will take a lot of time depending upon your type of complexity. Analysis of existing topology, routing and traffic engineering. Again, as I said, that routing will should not be affected while migrating. So this is the main thing. You have to make sure that you do have reachability at all times. Now, the best option would be that whenever you're migrating, basically what you will do in the data center is that this is your traditional one, which is connected, and parallelly you will have your Cisco SD-WAN fabric running, which will be connected to your circuits, public circuits or the private circuits, and this is will be your LAN. So what you're going to do is that you will be hosting parallelly, and slowly from this particular traditional topology, you will slowly move your application servers and the devices slowly to the SD-WAN fabric. So in that way, slowly you keep on moving from traditional to the SD-WAN. Now, bandwidth capacity, again, since you're planning parallelly, so you have to make sure that you do have bandwidth on your with your service providers to reach. In many designs, the data centers can become a hub either temporarily or permanently. For this reason, it is important to plan ahead to ensure WAN bandwidth is sufficient pre and post migration. Allocation of new physical and logical network resources. In most cases, there will be new Cisco SD-WAN routers, definitely, because it depends. Very less service providers might have the Cisco eligible routers which can be upgraded to Cisco SD-WAN code. If that is the case, they can upgrade to Cisco SD-WAN code, and they can make that device, existing device, into the Cisco SD-WAN device and connect it to the fabric. Okay, if that's not the case, then you will host it parallelly the SD-WAN fabric. Added to the data center environment, 1 gigabytes or 10 gigabytes connectivity will be provided for the LAN and the WAN. New subnets IP address will be hosted to cut the transit and management networking. Planning this out ahead time will allow you to scale consistency and contagiously. Configuration of new or existing network. Again, while configuring things, you might definitely configure the new subnets, and also you might also change some kind of some of the topology in order to meet your requirements. So definitely there will be change of subnets. Adding a new subnets and change of topology means then there will be change in the routing, then that will be reflecting your layer 2, that will reflect your VPNs, VLANs, and the transit link. So any one change can lead to changes in multiple scenarios, like multiple things. So for example, there is a data center here which is connected to the internet. You are hosting the fabric. So in this case, that's good because you're slowly moving to the fabric. But what if you have already upgraded this code to the Cisco SD-WAN codec and you're connected to the branch internet, and you have upgraded the device to the SD-WAN. Now the routing has been now changed because you're now been this device has been now controlled by the SD-WAN fabric. That means you're pushing the policies. That means you already have some kind of control policy which might affect this device now. So it's not only that one. So instead of one thing that is been added to the fabric and the policy is been pushed due to that one thing, the whole data center back of it will be affected, or the any devices that is will be connected to this device will be affected. So this will be the ISP1, this will be the ISP2. For example, there is a PC server one which is going via the ISP1 before, but after the policy has been pushed, now it is taking the optimal path. Now this time it is going with the ISP2. So definitely it will change, it will put an effect on many different devices. Documentation of Cisco SD-WAN specific configuration. Now this is the very headache one, documentation, and everyone hates this one, but having a documentation is a good idea because that will give you the information how things are connected. So if you do not have the documentation, means that you are relying on your network engineer. So if he resigns, then you do have no option to force him to work for you until unless you have your own documentation in place and someone is able to understand your network, which is a complex one. Until then, you can't do anything. All right, so documentation should include your TLOC priority, TLOC weight, if there is any DNS, GPS coordinates, host name, bandwidth, system IPs, all the config details should be included into the documentation. Policy and device configuration, as I said in the previous example, that if you are upgrading the existing device to the SD-WAN fabric, so definitely there will be an effect on it. So you have to make sure that you create the policy according to that one so that we don't have much effect once the device is being added to the SD-WAN fabric. So that's what we have to be very much careful in configuring the policy, especially because that will affect your control plane and the data plane. All right, so Cisco SD-WAN migration, device template configuration. Again, as I said, since if you're existing upgrading the existing device, then definitely you will be pushing a device template for it in order to manage it from the vManage. If you are hosting parallelly with the different devices, then it's a different story. Again, you will be pushing a device template to it, but this will not put a much effect on it because there are no devices connected to this particular fabric for now, but you will be moving one by one from your traditional to the fabric. But if it is an existing router which has been upgraded or added to the fabric, so definitely it will be in a vManage mode. That means a device template will be pushed. So again, you have to make sure that be careful whenever you push the device template, so you don't have access to the CLI after that. So everything will be managed via the vManage. And for that device template, we do call as a zero touch provisioning because once the device has been added to the fabric, vManage will automatically push that device template to it with the config file on it. So it will implement that configuration and it will override the previous one. So you make sure that you include your all traditional config in that one to facilitate that one, and it doesn't affect your network or your servers within the data center. All right, or if you're hosting parallelly, that should not put much effect on it. So it's only for the existing device which you are upgrading for it. So these are the different things you have to keep in mind in while migrating to the Cisco SD-WAN. There will be a lot of work to do before moving to the SD-WAN. So it might not be an easy process and it might take months depending upon how large your environment or network is. So I hope this was informative for you and thank you.